JT Higgins took Texas A&M men's golf to new heights during his 19 years as head coach. The Aggies were consistent winners during his tenure, claiming 28 tournament titles. They advanced to the NCAA championships 12 times, finishing in the top 10 in 4 of them. The highlight of it all came in 2009. Advancing to the final match at the NCAAs at historic Inverness, he and the Aggies outlasted Arkansas to claim the national championship. Higgins was named Big 12 Coach of the Year in 2012 after leading the Ags to the conference title, and after the change in leagues was the SEC Coach of the Year in 2020. In 2015, he was inducted into the Golf Coaches Association of America Hall of Fame and receives the same honor here in Aggieland. Ladies and gentlemen, JT Higgins.
Howdy. As you've heard, when you coach a long time, you're going to get a couple of awards, and I've been very fortunate to receive some. I want you to know, without a doubt, this is the most meaningful and important to me. I am so grateful for this, and the reason's simple. I love Texas A&M. This place has been so amazing to me. It's provided me with so many great memories, adventures, experiences, and most of all, friendships. I am so blessed to have ever stepped foot on this campus, and I feel so fortunate. So with that said, I do want to thank a few people early in the speech. The first one is, one of the cool things that this committee does is they send you a packet with all the letters of recommendation for the people that wanted you to receive this award. I want to thank Todd Riddle, Bucky Richardson, Matt Van Zant, and Randy Lee. To read those letters and hear that those guys think so much of me from people that I think so much of myself was truly heartwarming, and I'm appreciative. So thank you guys for that. So I could sit here all night. If you know me, I can tell you stories about every day at Texas A&M. I can tell you stories about tournaments we played in, championships we won, things that we experienced. You're lucky I'm not going to do that. But since I'm not going to tell you about every day, I do want to tell you about the first day. So when I took the job here at Texas A&M, I didn't know anything about this place. I had 3 things that I knew. Number 1, I was getting a nice raise. I was pretty happy about that. Number 2, I knew that in a 2.5-hour drive, there was some of the best talent in the world in junior golf, and I was pretty excited about that. The other thing I knew is they played pretty good defense. That was it. So when my first day, Mike Caruso was our sport administrator. And he shows up, meets me at the office, and back then our office was in the coldest building. And he said, hey, Coach, what do you need? What can we do for you to help you today? And I go, Mike, just show me the computer password and give me my cell phone, and I'll hit the ground running. He said, well, those are on order. Hopefully we'll have those for you by the end of the week. So then he opens my office door, and it's an interior office in coldest. There's no windows. It's about 12 by 10, maybe 12 by 12, and no one told me that it doubled as our storage closet. And if you've ever been around a college golf program, we get a lot of gear. And this office is filled wall to wall, floor to ceiling with boxes. Golf bags, golf shoes, clothing. We were Nike school back then, stuff from Nike. I can barely fit between the desk and my chair to sit down, and the rest is just a wall of boxes. And there's a landline phone. So I made a couple phone calls, talking to some people about some different recruits. And I said, you know what, I better figure out what this place is all about. So I went across the street to Rudder Tower and decided to take a tour. And the lady said, yeah, we got about a half hour before the next tour, but you can go in there and you can watch a video, and then we'll get you. So I go over, and I sit down, they let you pick the video, so I said, well, let's pick game day. And hey, I'm coming from New Mexico and UNLV. I don't know if you know, they're not bastions of college football. So, I'm watching this video, I'm like, I've never seen anything like it. Like, this is amazing. And, and when you watch the video, they're showing you all the pageantry, the corps marching in, and the 12th man, they teach you about that, and everyone stands the entire game. I'm like, this place is amazing. And then they talk about the flags, from the World War I veterans that didn't make it back, and why the flags are up there on the stadium. And I'm like, this is incredible. Well, then she comes and grabs me and says, come on, ready for the tour. And so we go into the MSC, and they start talking about all the traditions. And they take you down that hallway where they've got those wood carvings, and you learn about the Aggie Ring, and you learn about the Corps of Cadets, and you learn, the seniors got the really cool boots, and I'm like, man, what is this place? What did I sign up for here? This is incredible. And as you go on, they talk about bonfire, and then she leads you down the hallway, and you got the 7 Medal of Honor winners. And you're like, this place is different. It is so special. From there, she starts talking about our core values. And as soon as she says them, I'm like, holy cow, did this lady steal my coaching philosophy notebook? I mean, it was a match made in heaven. I told myself, it's like, JT, you were born to coach here. This place is incredible. And then we walk by the Rudder Tower, and she says, this guy scaled the cliffs at Normandy. And I'm like, what? How do I not know about all this stuff? And then you go down further, and they talk about silver taps and muster. And all of that I was pretty much sold then. But then we walk over, and she shows us a century tree. And she tells us, if you walk under that tree with the person you love, you're going to stay together forever. And like out of a movie, a senior in the Corps comes out from underneath the tree, drops to a knee, and proposes to our tour guide. I don't know what to do. Sorority girls are coming out of the woodwork everywhere. And I'm like, one of them, like, say yes, this is awesome. Hook, line, and sinker. From that day forward, this was my school. This was where I wanted to be, and I was like, we are gonna build a winner. This is my mission in life, is to bring a winner to this school. I know it's not football, I know there's not 100,000 people watching, but what we were gonna do, we were gonna make it important. So how was I gonna do that? Well, I knew we had to put together a great schedule. I knew we had to have great facilities. We have fantastic weather. We have great, obviously you got the great academics at Texas A&M and the academic support. All of that was phenomenal. But I needed players. So we had to figure out how are we going to get them. We were not one of the better teams. Back then, the Big 12 was probably the strongest conference in college golf, and we had a long way to go to catch up to those guys. So I thought, well, I need guys that can shoot low scores. I need guys that can get good grades, because what I just learned, that Aggie ring is going to serve them a lot better than golf will. And I need guys that are going to buy in. They're going to do things the right way, good character guys. I know what you're thinking, JT, you are a genius. Guys that shoot low scores, get good grades, and they're pillars of the community. Why didn't every coach think of that? That's just amazing. So, I thought, well, we've got to beat some pretty good competition for these players. And so I decided, what I knew from my past experiences was that other things matter besides the golf game, besides the swing, besides how good of a putter you are. Work ethic matters, attitude matters, poise and composure matters, character matters. So I made a determination we were going to get high character guys. End of story. That was our number one goal. And the way we were going to do that was by being completely transparent in recruiting. And what I mean by that is, the way I felt about it was Clint Eastwood recruiting. The good, the bad, the ugly. So we were going to tell them all the good things. Hey, we're building 2 great golf courses in Bryan College Station. You're not going to believe what Miramont and Traditions are going to be like, which, by the way, I'm pretty proud of this golf community, what it's become in the last 20 years. Just incredible that this town has 2 of the best golf courses in the state of Texas. Just phenomenal. But we were going to sell that. We were putting together a great schedule. We have great weather. We have great academic support. But we're also going to tell you about the responsibilities that come with coming to school here. We're going to work out at 6 in the morning, 3 days a week. You're going to study hall 5 nights a week. We don't care what your high school grades are. You're going to prove to us that you can handle this academic load. You're going to be held to a high account, both your scores on the golf course and how you conduct yourself off the golf course. If you don't live up to that, if you fail in any one of those ways, you're going to find out how many steps are in this stadium behind us. And if you get a chance to talk to some of the players that are here tonight, they can tell you that they've touched them all many times. So the amazing thing about that kind of recruiting was the players weeded themselves out. You may or may not know this, but in the golf world, there's a lot of guys you might call prima donnas. There's a lot of guys that were raised in country clubs, and not a lot was expected of them, and a lot of those guys just flat out told me, I don't want all of that, I just want to play golf. And we were fine with that. This isn't the place for you. Go somewhere else. And because of that, we got guys that wanted that. They wanted to be held to high account. They wanted to be coached. They wanted to get better. And they wanted a degree from Texas A&M. They wanted to be part of this university. The reason I'm telling you all that is because they are the reason that I'm standing up here. I never hit a shot. If you've ever played golf with me, be very thankful for the fact that I was never responsible for the scores that went on the board for Texas A&M. But I'm very proud of the teams that we put together and the players that represented y'all. They were part of the reason. Another part of the reason was the assistant coaches we had. When you coach golf, you have one assistant. And when you hire a guy, you are literally hiring a new best friend. You're hiring a guy that you are going to spend more time with than you spend with your wife and kids. And I was so fortunate to have guys that worked alongside me that were as committed, worked as hard, and wanted to succeed as much as I did and as much as the players did. I'm going to mention them tonight. Andy Dawson, Chris Guggenheim, Jason Sigler, Jim Anderson, and Brian Corton were the 5 assistants I had in the 19 years. All of them put in so much time, were so committed to helping us be great, and I am so appreciative for all the work that they put in. I want to tell you about a couple players that we had. Our first recruit here was a guy named Andrew Parr from Canada. I signed him sight. I'd never seen him swing a club in junior golf. I took the word of some friends in Michigan. He's from Canada, and some friends in Michigan had seen him play and said, he's your kind of guy. And when he came down, I was so impressed with his attitude, his goals, what he wanted to do with this life, where he wanted to be, that he was the first guy we signed. For the next 4 years, he was our team leader. He was the heart and soul of this team. The next guy we got is here tonight, Bobby Gates. I got to tell you about Bobby Gates. Bobby Gates was a top 5 junior golfer in the country. We were ranked about 75th in the country. Bobby Gates is from Gainesville, Florida. Bobby Gates' email address was gatorgolfer7@gmail.com. Bobby, I hope you changed it. Otherwise, you're getting inundated tonight. Both his parents went to Florida. He was best friends with a guy named Tyson Alexander, whose father, Buddy Alexander, was the head coach at the University of Florida. So I have an assistant coach, Chris Guggenheim. His first time out on the road recruiting, I send him out to Florida to watch a couple Texas kids play. And he calls me, he goes, hey, have you ever heard of this Bobby Gates guy? I said, everybody's heard of Bobby Gates. He's one of the best players in the country. He said, well, I think we should recruit him. And I said, man, I got to find a new assistant coach. And so I said, why would he ever come to Texas A&M? And he said, I don't know. I met his dad, And he said he'd really be interested in looking at us. I talked to him about what we're doing, what we're building, and he wants to take a look. If there's any compliance guys out there, that was a bump, and the statute of limitations is way over. So we're not getting in trouble for that. So I said, okay, well, tell his dad to call me. And I talked to Mr. Gates, and I told him, hey, listen, if you and Bobby promise that he will make an official visit to Texas A&M, then we'll recruit him. And they agreed. He gave me his word of honor. I forgot to mention one other thing in that story, by the way. Florida was ranked #1 in the nation at the time. You couldn't find us in the rankings. So Bobby came out for a visit, and just like me, he fell in love with everything about this place. And when he came here, we built a program around him. He was the foundation that all of this has been built on, and I am so grateful that he came here. He gave every good player in America permission to come to Texas A&M and at least see what we were building and what we were doing. So, Bobby, I'm super thankful for you. Thank you so much for trusting in us and taking a chance on us. I hope you're happy with the way things turned out, too. From Bobby, that led to Bronson Burgoon. I have to mention Bronson. If you're familiar with our program, Bronson Burgoon hit a shot to within 2 inches to win the national championship. I know everyone in this room thinks AC Law hit the shot. It was a very close second. Bronson Burgoon's shot was ranked by Golf Week magazine as the 5th best shot in the history of golf. I want you to think of the billions of shots that have been taken on golf courses in the history of golf. To be number 5, I think that's pretty good. So very, very happy Bronson came here. And then we also added, then the next couple of years, we added some more great players, Andrea Pavon, John Hurley, who's here tonight, and Nacho Avira. And that basically made up the core of our national championship team in 2009. And from there, we were just stacking recruiting classes. So our players were amazing, and they were willing to pay the price. They did not take the easy way out, and I'm so thankful for them. Thankful for our assistant coaches. I'm very proud of the fact that right now, as we speak, there are 10 head or assistant coaches in D1 golf around the country that either played for us or were assistant coaches here before they went on to head coaching jobs. So the Aggie way is being taught around the country, and I'm very excited about that. The last group that really had a huge impact in our program is the Aggie Golf Association. Back in 2003, Jerry Cox was the president of the Board of Trustees of the 12th Man Foundation, along with Miles Marks was the CEO, and somehow I was able to talk them into letting me start a golf booster club. The idea of that club was really just to introduce our players to people like you, successful businessmen, Aggie grads that love the game of golf and could help them in their future. We wanted to start the Aggie Network while those kids were in college. What a huge success. We were so fortunate. First year, I think we had about 30 guys in the club. There's well over 200 now. It is just built upon itself over the years. There are several people that have made that a huge success. I have a dear friend, Jim Stark, who once he joined the Aggie Golf Association, he made it his personal mission to get any Aggie that played golf in the city of Houston to become a member. And he brought more people in to that organization and introduced me to more people. If you're from Memorial and you play golf, there's a good chance that Jim Stark probably introduced us at some point. On top of that, a few other people I'd like to thank. The first one is a guy named Dwayne Knight. None of you know him. One guy here knows him. I have a former player here tonight from UNLV when I was an assistant coach, Brandon Goethals. Brandon played for Dwayne. For whatever reason, Dwayne Knight called me up one day in 1991 and asked me if I ever thought about getting into coaching. When I tell you that I didn't know a thing about golf when he offered me this job, I'm pretty sure I didn't know which end of the club to hold. He saw something in me that he wanted me to come work with him. I was his assistant for 6 years. He taught me everything I know about golf. He taught me everything I know about running a golf program. He was a mentor, father figure, and anyone that ever played for him, the coaches that have gone on, that coached underneath him, just a major influence in all of our lives, and really thankful for him. Second guy I'd like to say thank you to is Bob Ellis. Coach gave me a call when I was the head coach at New Mexico, 1997, or I'm sorry, in 2000, and told me he was getting ready to retire. And if I was up for it, he wanted to put my name in as a candidate for the job. Like I said, I didn't know much about A&M, but I said I'd be really interested in that job. And so Coach recommended me. There was a search committee of 7 people. One of those people on the search committee was a guy named Paul Wahlberg. If you knew Mr. Wahlberg, one of the most generous human beings you'd ever know. Mr. Wahlberg so the search committee settled on me, recommended me to Wally Groff, was the athletic director at the time. I'm very thankful to Wally for taking a chance on me and hiring me. And Mr. Wahlberg called me on my first day on the job, and he said, "Coach, I want to let you know something. I didn't support you. I wanted the other guy." I was like, "Wow, all right." And he said, "But I want you to know you're our coach, and whatever you need from this day forward, I'm a phone call away." He goes, "It doesn't matter what I wanted, you're our coach." And I talked to Mr. Wahlberg every Monday morning between 6:30 and 7, pretty much until he passed away. He called every week to see how we were doing. He never once criticized. He never once told me we needed to do something differently. He called to see how I was doing and what I needed. He was the greatest. So super grateful for him. A few more thank yous. 12th Man Foundation. From Miles Marks all the way to Travis Dabney. A special thank you to Stu Starner, who passed away in the last year. The 12th Man Foundation has been incredible for Texas A&M golf. They have helped us at every step, whether it was facilities, whether it was scholarships, whatever we were raising money for, they were incredible. A really special thanks to Brady Bullard and Jacob Green. Those guys are rock stars for us, and we could not have done it without you guys. Thank you so much. Finally, I got some friends in the audience that I really want to thank. The first guy, I already mentioned Jim Stark. He introduced me to so many people. One of my dearest friends in the world, Jim Wilson, you all know him as the regent that took us to the SEC. I know him as my best friend. He's just an amazing guy. He's a trusted confidant. His advice has helped me along the way so much. I met Jim and John Schiller on the same day at a 12th Man function at Christopher's Restaurant here in town. And life-changing for me. Those two guys have introduced me to so many people that have helped us along the way, both personally and professionally, and helped me, well, not helped me, but just took me on so many trips and done so many things where the experiences that I've had personally have been amazing, and I am so grateful to them. Very, very special thankful to John. He basically introduced me to Texas Oil. If you were an oil guy, John introduced me to you. And if you don't think that helped the golf program, you're crazy. That was a big help. So, very grateful to him. He introduced me to a travel squad. I've just got to share this story. Back in 2013, found myself on an airplane with Dave Dunlap, flew us out, Bucky Richardson, R.C. Slocum, Jacob Green, and I'm sitting there looking across that airplane. We're on our way to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to watch us beat the hell out of Alabama on their home field. I think Ryan Swope was there that day. And I'm looking at these guys in the airplane. I'm like, how much money would people pay to be sitting where I'm sitting right now? And I had to pinch myself. I couldn't believe how lucky I was. And then to get to saw him off on the field at Bryant Denny with the football team afterwards, I didn't know it was on my bucket list, But after I did it, I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. That was awesome. So very grateful for the friends I've made along the way. Some newer friends, Kenny and Lena Lawson, Larry Hodges, Billy Lucci. You make my life better every day. My family loves it here. We appreciate everything. And then the last thing is I've got to thank my family. Two of my kids were able to make tonight, Ashley and Ben. My youngest daughter, Casey, couldn't come, but all three are proud Texas Aggie graduates. All three have science degrees. They definitely didn't get that from their father. And they are the greatest. They just bring so much joy to my life, and I couldn't be more proud of my kids. They are amazing. Also, 8 years ago, my personal life was not in a good place. I'm going to share that with you. And I went with some buddies down to Cabo, and I met a beautiful blonde from California. And if you've met Miss Raylin, you know that she is the sweetest, kindest, most thoughtful person ever. And she has just filled my life with so much love and joy. And I am so grateful for her and her three kids, Zach, Casey, and Alicia, that, my life is full, my heart is full, and I am so grateful for all of you. Thank you for letting me be part of this Aggie family. Thank you for this honor and award. It means more to me than you can ever know. Gig 'em. Thank you.